Times of quarantine, we can travel, but no one has cancelled virtual exploration. So we will take you on a journey through Europe's most magnificent medieval castles that hold centuries of incredibly rich history in their ruins. Most of the beautiful castles have fallen into disrepair after the years of war and reconciliation, and we are now left with only silhouettes of their past glory. BudgetDirect collaborated with graphic designers and architects to rebuild seven of the most famous castles across Europe to their former mighty beauty with the help of these digital architectural 3D renders, reconstruction animations. Number 1. Samobor Castle. The Kingdom of Bohemia was a medieval European monarchy that ruled over the parts of modern-day Czech Republic and Germany from the end of 12th century until the First World War. The Bohemian ruler of Dunnottar built Samobor Castle in the mid-13th century during a war over the disrupted Duchy of Styria, but he soon lost it to Croatian-Hungarian forces. Today, the medieval architecture, a fortress pierced down over the roofs of modern-day Samobor. With just a 10-minute walk from the town, and visitors can still marvel at the walks and remains of the moat. The only surviving original element is the guard tower. Much of the rest of remains, including the Gothic chapel of Saint Anna, are from 16th century modifications. Number 2. Château Gaillard, France. Château Gaillard is an early example of the use of concentric fortification in machicolation in castle design. Machicolation refers to floor openings in battlements through which defenders could drop boiling oil or rocks on their attackers. The concentric fortification was formed of 3 defensive pillars, one inside the other and each separated by dry moats. Richard the Lionheart built Gaillard very quickly between 1196 and 1198 to defend against Philip II of France. The castle saw a lot of action before finally being abandoned in the 16th century and later demolished by Henry IV of France. However, elements of the outer castle remain, and you can still admire the uniquely ribbed walls of Inner Valley. Number 3. Dunnottar Castle, Scotland. Dunnottar is a promontory fort. It is perched on a sea gulf looking out onto the North Sea from the east coast of Scotland. The castle has played a pivotal role in tensions between the English and the Scottish over the years. Most famously, William Braveheart was a siege and retook the castle from the English in 1297. It is the key location in 1990 movie. The castle was later besieged by Oliver Cromwell. The Scottish crown jewels were smuggled to safety, either up the jumper of a pregnant woman or over seaward-facing walls, depending on who you ask. One of the most dominant remains on the 1.4-hectare site is 14th century Tower House. The uniquely Scottish feature was a kind of fortified mansion that once stood 3 stories high. Number 4. Menlo Castle, Ireland. Menlo Castle was owned for most of its existence by Blake family and destroyed fire in 1910. The family coachman James Cowan escaped the flames by climbing down from his window on ivy vines. He tried to rescue the other inhabitants, but young Eleanor Blake perished in the fire, as did a maid who kept her to death. Since the day the castle was ruined, the same green heavy ivy has grown to cover the entire building. Visiting Menlo is a fairy tale experience, as the vines camouflage the building in the natural landscape of the surrounding woods and fields. It is not known when the castle was first built, but it was primarily a domestic rather than military use. Large round towers and a form of pyre that hold a cannon and telescope provided security for the inhabitants. Number 5. Olsztyn Castle, Poland. Olsztyn Castle is set on a dramatically bumpy hill among limestone rocks overlooking Lena River in northeast Poland. The castle was built sometime before 1306. It was expanded by Casimir the Great between 1349 to 59 to defend against the Czechs. Olsztyn later gained a military garrison and was renovated in the Renaissance style in the 16th century. At that point, it was built on 3 levels with drawbridge entrance and a moat. In the following years, however, the Habsburgs and then the Swedes caused significant damage and the castle fell out of use. Today, visitors can still see the original Gothic tower and explore the ingenious manner in which the built elements integrate the area's rocks and cast caves. Number 6. Spiš Castle, Slovakia. Covering a 4-hectare area, Spiš Castle is one of the world's largest castle complexes. Its magnitude served the purpose of a border fortress in a feudal Hungarian kingdom. The castle later changed hands several times between empires and aristocratic families who used it as a mansion. It was owned by the Czech family and in decline when fire finally ruined building in 1780, perhaps the result of a lightning strike. Today, Spiš Castle in UNESCO listed. Its expanse and geographic setting make it ideal for walking and photography. Conservationists began work several decades ago to protect the medieval building from the threat of an unstable bedrock under the foundations. 100 square meter geoglyph of a horse from a Celtic coin design now stands imposingly. Number 7. Poenari Castle, Romania. Legendary Poenari Castle is so adorned with inspiring details that it feels like it came from a storybook. Indeed, it once belonged to Vlad the Impaler, the voivode of Wallachia, who inspired Bram Stoker's Count Dracula. Climbing the 1,480 concrete stairs to the cliff top, Castle's eagle nest position creates an uneasy sense of isolation, and it is easy to get giddy at such a height, especially in the knowledge that its ruins are partially due to a landslide that dragged the towers down the river 400 meters below. But Poenari need beware visitors made the do. Vlad himself escaped attack through a secret passageway and into the Carpathian Mountains. The fortress itself was originally built directly into the rock, fortified without a flying. The Vlad rebuilt it with extra towers for defense. As a final fearsome detail, the castle is currently closed because of local bears, but it will reopen soon, possibly with a Kremlin tram to lift visitors up from the valley. So, this was 7 castles, historical, magnificent and medieval. Thank you for watching. Please let us know in the comment section below.